Hello, everybody, and a very good evening, and welcome to At the Picnic Season 2, Episode 13. We've got a very different guest on tonight, Danny. We've had trainers and owners and people from the committees at the track and race callers, and we've got someone a bit different, and we're going to introduce him very, very shortly. But we'll just quickly go through the last two meetings to cover. So, Woolamai on Saturday. My goodness, Danny, what a magnificent crowd it was. It was massive.
Was a ripping day, and I'm starting to think that poor old Woolamai's getting a little bit of the Healesville former wet weather curse. They've been a little bit unfortunate with their weather this season, but still it was a great turnout. And it was really, really good to see. Plenty of people out, great racing, lots of good finishes, and it was plenty of fun for all of us.
It was, and congratulations to Sean Cooper, who rode a treble at Woolamai. Then New Year's Day, we trekked off to Merton. I have not been there before. I had an absolute blast of a day. Natalie and the community, they put on the best day. It was just
a ripping day out. And I must say, we had Craig on a couple of weeks ago, and we had Natalie on as well. And they both spoke the day. Craig said to us, don't know whether it was during the show or whether it was after the show, very quietly, that he was aiming his horse Billets for the Cup. So it was really good to see all of his work and planning come to fruition, and him actually get that horse over the line in the Cup. So massive congratulations to those guys.
We actually haven't had Craig on the show yet, Danny. We're going to get him on next week.
No, we're supposed to. That's right. I was talking to him on the phone the week that we're supposed to have him on. Right. So that would be why I remember that conversation so well.
Yep. So congratulations to them. Fantastic win. My fella ran second. He all too greedy. Geez, he put up a fight. Willets, when they sprinted, he sprinted better than my fella. So we're very happy with our fella to run second. Congratulations to Tracy Johnson, who rode a double at Merton. So that's fantastic for her. Now, coming up this weekend, God, it's all happening, Danny. All happening.
We've got a very busy period of racing coming up in the next few weeks, kicking off with this weekend.
Healesville Cup Saturday.
Healesville Cup and Mansfield Cup this weekend. Mansfield, so big double header of cups.
So looks like the rain's going to stay away. I know that Merton's still a little bit wet, so that should dry out hopefully. It did have a heavy 8.
Oh, Mansfield. Merton was last week.
Mansfield. Mansfield is listed as a heavy 8, but I'm sure it's going to dry out and it'll be a lot better than that. So, and Healesville, I believe, was listed as a slow 7. Again, 7. I think we're going to get better than that. So
you think so with the weather that we've got coming, but hey, Mother Nature's been wreaking havoc with all of us, so who knows just yet.
Who knows what's going on. So time to introduce our wonderful guest this week. A lot of you might recognise him. You'll see him at every track. He never misses a track, as that's his job. We've got Andrew Kimmer on, who is, of course, the video man, and if it wasn't for him, you'd never see replays. So first of all, welcome to the show, Andy.
Well, it depends.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Paul.
Because he gets the stewards footage to him too.
Well,
there's a bit of love and hate amongst us all here, but unfortunately, I have to be there to cater for both parties on that one. So yeah, replays is the good part, and unfortunately, steward vision, which is the most essential of it all, can be someone's worst enemy.
Yep. Well, if people didn't do the wrong things, then it wouldn't. It's like people that get picked up on the speed cameras, mate, and crack it. If you're not doing the wrong thing, then you've got nothing to worry about.
That's kind of my job, I guess. I'm sort of like the speed camera guy of the picnic race circuits, on a much smaller scale. But
you're not going to get someone to start with a crowbar and start hitting your van during the races.
I don't get the fines. Like they go somewhere else. Somebody else gets to keep all that.
Oh dear. You do a wonderful job, Andy. You really do. And you've got plenty of people that obviously help you, and we're going to speak to one of them very, very shortly. So how long have you been doing it for, and how did you get involved?
Oh, geez, I don't know where to even start. Look, I got involved probably in the mid-'80s, 1986, my stepfather started the business off. In fact, he started it right back in 1981. Woolamai was his first track where he started filming it. And on that note, on the 13th of January, we have actually got a memorial race for him, which will be, I believe, on race 5. and it'll be called. Well, I'm hoping it'll be called. We haven't confirmed the name yet, but it'll be called the Bill Littlewood Memorial
Wow.
Sprint Handicap, whatever it is. So that's on the 13th of January. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be in the race book. He started the business originally, and I sort of stepped in the mid 80s as a button pusher. All right, meaning I used to set up the VCR, and back in those days, the video was a lot simpler. There was only the one camera, simply a porta pack. If you remember the video cameras, you had to carry on the shoulder with a cable, with a video beside you. Similar to that, and a duplicator machine. And that was pretty much it. And I was the button pusher for that. And as the years went by, I sort of invested in my own equipment and sort of gradually brought myself into all this until Bill decided to retire in 2013, I think it might have been. He got into photography there for a little while. He did race photos. And that sort of distracted him a bit from video. So I then sort of took over the video side of things. And to what it is today, where we now operate out of a van, we have a lot more equipment, and we've gone digital, and we have multiple cameras around the track. So it made the speed camera situation a whole lot more technical.
I have to ask you, and I'm going to ask you two questions in one, because some of the tracks are very hard to film with trees blocking you. What's your favourite track to work at, and what's your least favourite?
Okay, I might get in trouble for saying this, but look, at the moment in the picnic scene, I would have to say Woolamai, without a doubt, is the number one picnic race circuit. They are, in my opinion, I think they're miles ahead with infrastructure. They've really gotten in there and invested a bit of money building great jockeys' rooms. Like, they are by far the best out of all the jockeys' rooms I've seen in all the tracks, and they've really poured a few dollars into it. As far as, you know, being able to run our cables and patch into things, it's all underground. It's all properly patched. Their RF system, which is all their antenna signals going to all the TVs, is ahead of the rest. And they've really, what they've put in has really paid off now. And they've future-proofed themselves for at least another 30 years. So, yeah, I'd have to give the thumbs up to Woolamai for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And look, I have to even... Yep.
I must say, it's the one place that the TVs never short circuit out and trip out or anything else. So for us guys in the jockeys room watching our replays or trying to check out what's going on at the pro meetings and that sort of thing, like, we love it as well for that reason. It's just straightforward and yeah, relatively easy.
Yeah, and it's a permanent setup too. That's another great thing at Woolamai. Even the stewards room, and I know the jockeys don't like the sound of that, is state of the art as well. Like, it's almost up to professional level. Again, they got permanent televisions, which means we can just set up and leave our gear there safely, knowing that it's going to be there the next meeting we turn up. And there's minimum setup required, and everything just works at Woolamai. We hardly have problems there. It's by far the number one track. So, and that's probably the first question I can answer for you quite confidently.
You might be banned from a few tracks now, Andy. I might say you're not welcome back. And where's your least favourite?
Look, all picnic tracks have got their challenges, and I understand where they're coming from. It's more so the once-a-year tracks that is probably the most. Now, I don't like to put these places into the spotlight, but, you know, usually the high country tracks. I know Buchan is very challenging, and I say that more so with the trees being in the way. Now, they're in a bit of a rock and a hard place to do anything about it. They sort of legally can't slice those trees out in the middle, even though they are second growth gum trees, but there is a bit of a native reserve out there. So on an eco scale, they can't do anything, and it makes our work very, very challenging.
Yep.
You know, like when we have to film, we have to kind of set a pace and hope that the horses appear in between the gaps. And there's one section there that's like nearly 400 meters. We're just completely shooting blind. And then if we come out the other end and we film the ambulance, then we know we're too far back. So we're going to have to sort of work on a pace and hope the horses actually appear where they should be appearing, and that can be very challenging. We don't always get it right.
And that 400
flying blind with that.
That 400 meters. what's the race caller doing? Talking about what he had for lunch, or?
Well, it's usually Billy Quinn that calls the
That's
race
Billy,
at that
yeah.
track, and you know what Billy's like. He doesn't mind expressing his opinion and his frustration of not being able to see the horses, and I get it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how he does it, to be honest with you, and it's not something that any race caller could do. I would actually challenge, and if Matty Hill is watching this, I challenge him to go out there and actually call a race. I mean, he's got the beautiful luxury of Flemington and Caulfield and those sort of joints. But come out to Buchan and call a race there, and I reckon that is the ultimate challenge for any race caller. If we've got trouble filming it, and let alone Billy got trouble calling it, I reckon Matty Hill, that'll be the challenge I put to him, the number one race caller in Victoria.
We need to get Matty Stewart onto that one because he speaks to Matty Hill, so that could be a very interesting thing to look at.
I'd like to invite him there, actually. I don't know if we can get the word out and say, let's get a well, I class Matty as a celebrity, really. He's a great caller. Let's get him out there one day to Buchan. Let's put the challenge out there.
Get him in the VIP tent. Get him up there. Get him up there in a limo.
Yeah,
absolutely. So hilarious.
So that's, I mean, I guess that's one challenge. And then the other thing is, like, again, they're on generator power. So we've got to be very cautious with our power. Luckily, our van has a UPS system that gives us a little bit of backup power in case something goes down. So we're right there. Our cameras run on batteries. I always have ensured that there's batteries on cameras in case we get a power failure, because we don't want to miss a moment. And then this year, we're going to have the challenge of having the big screen out in the middle. I try not to laugh about that because realistically, with the big screen, yeah, it's there, but we're really just going to be amplifying the trees. But they are providing it, and okay, let's get it out there. But then we have to run a few extra cables, you know, from the Dakota Skybox, so we can put something out there in between the races. So there's a bit of cable running to do, and just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. But look, Buchan's not the only club in that situation, because again, it's a once-a-year meeting. They're on a very shoestring budget. There's others like Dedarang is another challenge in place because it's so the cooler is nearly 100 metres away from the actual track itself. Yeah.
And it's a really unique angle there too with the hills and stuff. It's a really, really tricky circuit, that one.
Yes, it's a pretty circuit. Don't get me wrong. I love the place and the drive up there, even though it's long. But it has its challenges. And again, once a year meeting, you know, they're struggling to really get that budget that they need to be able to, to build better infrastructure, I guess. You know, power is another one. Where we are situated, we have to run everything entirely off generator power. Yep.
Yeah.
You'll have to clip your budgie's wings, Danny.
Yeah, I know.
I just saw that.
Did that earlier. I just
sitting up on the picture. Sitting up the picture.
I know where it is.
Yeah. Now, you obviously have a couple of helpers that help you out here. You've got cameramen, and you've got a young fella that sits in your van who you put the pressure on him, and he always does a bloody good job. And that's your son Ben, who's got to jump on now.
He's coming.
He's a superstar kid, mate. I've seen him, the last few years grow up, and he's grown into a lovely young man, mate. So you've done a good job with him, and he really seems to enjoy what he does.
He does. Look, he's taken that role on a bit. He's very eager to jump on a camera. In fact, he's that eager that I reckon I could almost get him on the camera as early as possibly this Saturday, because I'm actually down a cameraman. Actually, 2 camera guys. So I'm actually trying to find somebody to fill in for the back straight. I've got a few people currently hoping to be able to make it. But, I reckon that'll be his next step. But he's taken up the inside of the van, like operating the mixer and the recording facilities quite well now. So I'm quite confident him working all that. And having said that, here he is right now. It's just going to step in.
Hello, young man. How are you, Benny?
He can't hear. I'll give you one of my earpods.
How are you, Benny?
Yeah, you know you.
Going well. Is that a Manchester United top you've got on? Is it? Fantastic, mate. Well, while we're on that topic, I think I know who you guys barrack for on the footy. Who is it, Andy?
In the AFL?
In the AFL.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a proud Hawk supporter.
Yeah, that's right. And you, Benny?
I don't really support the footy, but I'll just go.
You go the Hawks. So you're more of a soccer man. So we were just saying that you really enjoy helping Dad out and sitting in the van, and is it something that you might want to look to in the future, like getting into media?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to definitely have that as an option as a career. Yeah.
Good on you. So you're in year.
How old are you now, Benny?
Yeah.
Sorry?
14.
How old are you now, mate?
13, turning 14.
13. So you're in year 8 this year.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate. You're doing well.
He's very much sort of following in the footsteps as I kind of started in the mid '80s. As you start off in the van pushing a few buttons, and as I was saying earlier, his next step will be jumping on camera, and I reckon he's just about ready for it.
Bloody superstar, mate. I remember there was one meeting. I think it was at Balnarring, Andy, and like you had no cameraman. You're running around. I remember you come up to me and you went, "All you got to do is just stand there and push, record and follow the horse." And I thought, "Geez, you must be desperate, mate." But I wouldn't have a clue with what I was doing. I remember you were that desperate that day, mate.
Oh, look, it can be sometimes very hard to get a good camera guy, especially around this time of year when New Year's, Christmas, because a lot of people go away. And look, to book anybody during the New Year's Eve period or even New Year's Day, even on a lot of the public holidays, can be very hard. And they might have other things on as well. So I've got a lot of camera guys lined up, but just getting them can be very difficult. And it can be even a situation where the back straight camera might just have to be locked off and just pointing down the straight as a static camera. I don't like it to be that. Sorry?
If you get that desperate, let me know. I might be able to help. I'm not riding it at the moment.
Okay,
it's an easy gig. I reckon a couple of hours you become a professional at it. It's really not that hard, especially now with the cameras that we are using. I mean, you probably notice in the background there, like we've got these big broadcast cameras, but we don't use them anymore. We've downsized into a lot smaller cameras that are very automated. And I didn't think they were going to be suitable for picnic racing, but they are, and they provide up to date the best picture quality that we've encountered so far on a tiny little camera. And I wouldn't be surprised in the years to come. We'll be recording races off a simple little iPhone like this. I mean, the quality on these phones are getting every bit as good.
Yep. I was going to say some of the biggest changes in that you would have seen over the years are probably the size of your cameras and the quality of the footage and that, especially going digital to analog, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, little cameras now, like what we're using, they're a fraction of the size, and it makes us look a little bit Mickey Mouse-ish, I guess. When people look at us, they're going, "Oh, this guy's only got a handy cam." But what they don't realise, that technology has grown so much now that the quality of the picture is almost equal to a broadcast camera. And if you don't really sort of know what to look for on a television screen, you really can't notice the difference. If you are a professional cameraman, yeah, you might, but it's not huge. The gap has certainly narrowed a lot now between sort of what a lower end professional camera can do compared to a camera that you can spend up to $100,000. So that's where we're at the moment.
That's unreal. So what are some of the funny things that you guys have seen videoing at the picnics and that sort of thing in your times? Have there been any memorable ones?
That would have to be the nudie races.
Do you record them?
Do
you record them?
No. Well, there's one problem with that. First of all, it's only the blokes that do it. So I'm not interested in filming that. If the ladies did it, well, then maybe. But even then, we'd still we couldn't release that footage, for legal reasons.
Yeah, all the strange things as well.
Yeah, Balnarring is probably the place that do most
I
of
was
it.
going to say Balnarring. I remember one of the first years I rode there after the Cup meeting. I was driving home, and there was about 3 blokes hightailing it down Coolart Road doing a nudie run, and I'm like, my God, what?
They're game to do that, I'll tell you. They're so game to do that. Like on Coolart Road, out of all the roads, like
I know.
it's a dangerous road, let
Dodgy road
alone
to
patrolled
start
by
with, let alone
cops.
to Yeah, absolutely. And there's normally always coppers at Balnarring too, so I'll give them full credit for
It's-
that.
Yes,
Stupid, brave, or
absolutely.
drunk, not sure which, but
But I will
possibly
tell you
all
one
of
thing
them.
with the nudie races since COVID started. That's the end of it. I've never seen a single nudie race after that. Mind you, security has been stepped up quite a bit too. Like,
Maybe that's what happens.
that's probably eradicate a lot of it. By the time the blokes jump on the track and get ready, I think there's about 10 bouncers already on the straight there, ready to tackle them down.
That's disappointing.
So I think that culture has been killed off very, very rapidly because it was almost a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
And then probably another moment I can recall was in Yea there. There was this drunk guy that jumped the fence. And then the second fence, I was in the van, but my cameraman sort of filmed it. Lucky I wasn't recording at the time. But I was watching it, and he jumped the fence near the finish line there and slipped, no clothes on, and just knackered himself. And the whole crowd, everybody, there was hundreds of people there, all went, "Ooh!" And it just echoed through the race course. Yeah, and he kept running, and he was zigzagging his way to the dam, which is toward the track, and he just jumped straight in, and poor Dennis Howden was chasing after this guy. It was the funniest scene I've ever. A bit of Benny Hill music could have gone down quite well with that one.
And for people that watch this show, we do it to highlight the picnics. It is still a family day.
Oh, it's a family day, but it has its moments, I'll tell you. And you do sort of see it on some professional tracks, but not like the picnics. The picnics is just a totally different avenue altogether. Yeah.
Totally different ball game.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. So what entails you guys when you head up to Buchan and those sorts of things? Do you guys stay at Lakes Entrance or something like that, or what do you do with that?
We do now. No, we do now. We have a port of call in Lakes Entrance that we go to. Before that, Benzo was sort of like our second home. But no, we've got a place now in Lakes Entrance that we decided to buy because it was just costing us a fortune in motel fees. I figured, well, we're down there so often, and I love Lakes Entrance. It's just a beautiful place. I figured, well, we might as well get something down there, and then it's our place, and we don't have to pay these exorbitant motel fees, and it saves us a bit of money in the long run, I reckon. Yeah, and it gives us a good place to rest.
Absolutely. We camp over at Lakes Entrance as well, so we'll catch up with you when we do that next trip.
It's a lovely place, isn't it?
Still out. Oh, it's fantastic. I love staying down there. We always do the Buchan trip via Lakes, and it's sort of our mid picnic season break. So, yeah, it's great.
Breaks up the drive a little, so because we live in Pakenham, and yeah, it's just a long drive if we had come back all the way directly from Buchan or any of those places in the high country. It's too long. We've done it once, never again.
We're just on 9 minutes, Danny. If you want to shoot some quick ones at both Dandy and Benny.
Well, I'll fire them out as a family combo. So, school holidays, what are you guys doing for fun?
Work. Work.
Yeah,
there's no such thing as a break in this industry. You just got to keep going. He's
very
loving
true.
Off, but I'll let you answer that one, Ben.
Well, we haven't really gone places that we have been to places this school holidays. Me and Dad just got back from Mildura for a business trip with his other job. And me and Mum went to our grandparents and had a good time there, celebrated Christmas over there. But we haven't really been anywhere else than that, and I don't think we're paying anywhere else.
We generally do most of our holiday during the off season, which I know is winter time, but if we can, we'll head north a little.
Yep, that's not a bad option. Let's be honest. Get out of Melbourne's cold for any excuse is always good. So who gets to choose what's on the radio on the way to the races? And what do we listen to?
That would have to be Ben. That would have to be Ben.
What are we listening to, Ben?
Oh,
I like hip hop music.
Hip hop.
yeah, so we're bopping and bouncing our way through the racetrack with the hip hop. Yeah. It looks a bit unusual seeing a Ford Transit, with a bit of R&B and hip hop going down the street.
Okay, so what was
Certainly
the last
not the
movie
right
you
vehicle.
guys?
Sorry?
No, probably not. So what was the last movie you guys all went and saw?
At a cinema or at home?
I'll go cinema, but then you can hit me up for one at home.
Oh, geez, that was a while ago. Would have been Indiana Jones, I reckon, the latest Indiana Jones.
Yep.
I don't know what the rest of the title is. Yeah.
Yep.
Bit of indie. I like indie.
Indy's great. Absolutely.
Indie's good.
Don't call me Junior.
Yeah, don't call me Junior Indie.
That was a good time with the Gold Pass. Gold Pass is really
It's the only way to watch a movie. Gold Pass.
Gold Pass is really worth it.
Yeah.
For anyone looking for anything to go and see over the holidays, we went and saw Wonka last night, and it was absolutely ripping. There's a bit of singing in it for those that don't like singing, but it was an absolutely ripping movie. It was really good, so we got great value out of it. And
I've seen the shorts of it, and Wonka looks a bit creepy.
Nah, it's not. The Johnny Depp one probably was.
Yeah,
this one's not.
It's not?
No,
Okay.
this one's really friendly and
Okay.
really cool.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So have we gone and seen any concerts together as a family?
Oh, that's a story.
Oh, yes. That was last year when Kiss came out. That was probably the last big concert we saw. But there's a bit of a story behind it, and I'll try and be quick.
Yep.
Benny was feeling a bit crook when we got into the concert. And he was starting to get a bit of a fever. And that was still around the time when COVID was still a bit rife around the crowds and all that. So we really couldn't proceed any further than the half-time mark with Kiss. And then there was another problem. I forgot about all the pyrotechnics that go on in a Kiss concert. Like they're blowing up stuff all over the joint. And my ears are very sensitive to that. And I reckon by the time the half-time mark came up, I was just about deaf. I could not hear. They were ringing because nearly every time Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley did something, bang, something would go off. And I was just sitting there. My ears just went. So we had to leave early. So that was kind of a bit of a dampener. But at least we were the first one out of the car park there. There was no rush on that.
I ended up having the flu.
Yeah, he got the flu. So we had to leave, And that was a bit of a shame because the second half was always the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what are you guys streaming or watching on TV at home at the moment?
I've been going through all the Fast and Furious movies at the moment. I'm about halfway through. I don't know what you guys are watching.
I've sort of been watching a lot of the one of the series I like watching is Crown.
Okay.
The story about the Queen, and I think the new episode or series of episodes is due to come out, hopefully soon. And then the other one is the old Karate Kid movie, Cobra Kai. That's it's corny acting. It is corny acting.
Love it.
But just to see all the old crew come back again some 30, 40 years later is incredible. Yeah. So that's sort of been my
Hello,
streaming.
Hi.
Hello.
She's come up to feed the birds. Well,
the birds back there.
Yeah, careful it doesn't get out.
All right. Nah, that's why the door's locked.
Do you know how to clip their wings, Danny?
I'm not worried about doing that at the moment. The door's locked, so we'll worry about getting them friendly first. They've only just come home today, so
I can do it for you.
Mel's
It's easy.
one of the yellow bird is probably 4 weeks old, and the other ones are. So Mel's 2 birds are younger, and ours are older.
Yeah, Mel McDonald came with us today.
She did.
Oh, so she got 2 as well.
Yep, she did.
She's already got 1 bird. Now she's got
She's
3.
got more than one bed. Yeah, she's got a few more. So she's got a couple more now, and she'll
Okay.
probably have a couple more before the week's out.
Oh,
so
God. Okay.
yeah. No, we're all good. We've had a fun day.
We've got just on 2 minutes, Danny. You got another couple of quick ones?
Yeah, what pets have you guys got at home?
No, you got a dog.
We've got a dog and a cat.
And a cat.
The dog we've had for a bit over a year, and we've got a cat now that's
10 years old.
10 years old. Lovely cat. I love this cat to bits.
Love it.
Yeah, they've been our 2 little fur families.
Yep, cool.
We can bring one over here, but I'm afraid she'll probably tear up my office.
What's the dog and cat's name?
Okay, the dog's name is Keely, and that was named after
A soccer player.
Yep.
the French soccer player.
Yep.
Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, so we named her Keely, and here she is. If we can even pick her up, and
Jeez.
She's a big dog.
Oh, chocolate lab. Love it.
Chocolate.
chocolate lab. She's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, she missed
Beautiful.
us so much while we were gone the last few days.
Oh, beautiful.
And the cat's name is Matic. I don't know. There's a bit of a story behind it if we got time. She was accidentally put in the washing machine when he nearly got put in the washing machine and put for a few cycles by accident. So we decided not Omo Matic, but Matic, sort of became the name.
How's
And
it survived?
it was totally my fault. I don't know. It was lucky it didn't get to the main cycle.
Oh, my God.
I just happened to throw my clothes in and just shut the lid, and I didn't realise I was sleeping in it. It was a top loader. And I put it through a few cycles, and then I was outside working on the car. We lived next to a vet, so you always hear a few crying animals. I walked inside, and it got louder. And it got to a spin cycle, and all we can hear is this going around. And we're thinking, no, there's something wrong here. I was stopping the machine. The poor thing came out soaking wet, lost its balance. So I had to sort
That's
of
traumatizing.
dry it off. And I'm glad the cat's forgiven me for that. But
Oh, my
Mum
God.
got home and she was confused what was
I
happening.
was a bit confused. I had its tongue hanging out. It was a bit like that because it was dizzy. But it come good.
Oh,
And,
that's hilarious.
I think that cat's been loving me ever since. So I think I rescued it. Because I had gone to the main spin cycle, which is 1,000 RPM. I don't think it would have survived.
No, I think it would have
I was
been pushing
lucky.
a few daisies up there.
All right.
Would have
Well,
used up a couple of its 9 lives.
We're out of time. Thank you so much, Andy and Ben, for joining us. It was a
My
very different
pleasure.
show. It was a great show. I knew you'd have some great stories, Andy, so we really appreciate you. Do a great job. So a part of everyone
Yep.
at the picnics. Keep up your good work. And good luck to everybody at
Thanks,
Hillsville.
Vicky.
Thanks to Picnic Back. Thanks to everyone at Hillsville and Mansfield on the weekend. And I didn't say Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. Take care,
Good luck,
everyone.
everyone.
See ya.
No, see ya.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.